What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another late night in the BrewLab with me, Lone Fox, your brewmaster in chief. And tonight in the BrewLab, I'm coming at you with Maro's teaser for Tarkir Dragonstorm. Hell freaking yeah! Sorry about the no camera. For those of you being following my goings on carefully, you will know that I'm freshly back from a rather long holiday, and I have not yet been able to move into my new house properly. There's cardboard boxes everywhere, which is the reason behind the lack of camera and microphone over the last few videos. So my apologies for that, and thank you so much for bearing with me. We're going to get back to normal BrewLab content, I'd say at the very latest about a week from now. I'll be moved in and the new recording studio will be set up. I cannot freaking wait. But sorry for the long-winded ramble. We're here to talk about Dragonstorm, and I for one cannot freaking wait. The set release schedule for standard legal sets this year is going to be quite consistent, and that makes me a very happy chappy. I don't play any other formats, and so personally, the more fresh standard sets they release, the better. And as always, as the sort of start of the hype train, Maro releases one of these teasers on his blogger talk, and it appears as though he copy pastes this piece every time verbatim, except for the name of the set. So he's going to do one of his duelist style teasers, and the fun part is that it's partial information, so it keeps us guessing a little bit. And often I go over these as a first time viewing. This time I won't lie to you and say that it's my first time reading through these. I did get a little glimpse last night before I went to bed on my phone. So here we go. First up, here are some things you can expect. A cycle of Dragonstorm enchantments. Like, I don't understand what they mean by this. Like, are they referring to the set, or to the plane, or to... Because I've been too busy with personal stuff that I can't keep up with the story as I usually do, so I'm not sure what's going on exactly on Tarkir right now, but I wonder what they're referring to here. But I like cycles in general, because it's like, usually a color pairing, and Tarkir is known for its 3 color pairings, Abzan, Sultai, so on and so forth. And so this could be some like 3 color enchantments, 1 per clan, and that sounds freaking amazing, so bring it on. Next up, we got 2 planeswalkers. So I don't entirely know what happened to their whole philosophy with just 1 planeswalker per set, but it appears as though that has been scratched. So back to 2 planeswalkers by the looks of things, and Hazard Narset is from here, no? So maybe Sarkhan also, no? One can only guess, but those will be my best 2 guesses. And we've already seen some spoilers from the set, but no planeswalkers yet, so stay tuned. I believe the debut for the set is on the 18th, so not too far away either. Next up, we've got some counters in the set. We've got Decayed counters, Lifelink counters. Wow, I hope that's like more than just a one-off. And then Time counters, which has led some people to think that maybe Impend is back. Oh, sorry, Suspend. But who knows? Next up, we got a card that can tutor for 1 of 2 other cards. Very vague. Maro, you cheeky bastard. Could never hazard a guess about that. Neither could we with this. A legendary enchantment. Hydra that uses a clan keyword. Now this one, some speculation can be made upon. I am... Hydras often have like +1/+1 counter kind of stuff. They're often green, white, at least most recently. But a clan keyword. I did not play when original Tarkir was in standard. That was during one of my mini breaks, and so I cannot hazard a guess at this, but The fact that, you know, the Maro is a smart, cheeky bugger, this kind of, you know, no punctuation, a Hydra, a clan. But what if there's like a keyword for each clan, or it's so vague. But excited to find out what that will allude to as spoiler season gets underway. Next up, a common archetype theme gets an ability word. What? Theme. Swarm? Mill? No, we've already got a keyword mill. Well, the archetypes are, you know, tribal. I don't know. I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm definitely reaching the rambling stage of this quick video, but wouldn't like aggro mid-range control also be an archetype? And therefore that just brings the potential options for what this could be much bigger. It's not just, you know, whatever tribal, mill, you know, one of the, what is essentially a win con, but that has ended up becoming an archetype. Interesting, very interesting one, this one. And then archetype theme. Sneaky bugger, this Maro. Next up, we've got an instant that generates 5 effects. That's cool. We've seen one really cool Mardu one, which has 3. You know, these typical kind of like charm type of card. But 5 effects is pretty banana time. This has not been spoiled yet, so we'll just have to wait and see. Then we got a new typal enchantment based on a popular zombie one. Now, here, I can hazard a guess. The only thing is, again, I'm a standard mage. I know everything about standard, and have known everything about standard since I started playing it again. I'm that obsessive, right? So, my knowledge about magic is limited by that. Right? So, are we talking about popular now, standard today? Are we talking about a popular zombie enchantment since magic was invented? I don't know. But if we're talking about standard today, then it's clearly Corpses of the Lost. Makes a zombie token, gives everything haste. Now, if we got a similar thing for dragons, that you know, is an anthem effect and makes a token or something like that, chef's keys. So can't wait to find out what that is. Corpse of the Lost is a 3 mana one. The overlapping amount, because I went and had a little look through what we have left in standard thanks to this new 3-year rotation, plus the stuff that wouldn't have rotated anyway, with regards to dragon typal stuff. And Foundations actually brought a lot, and then we've still got like Sarkhan, the Izzet version that becomes a copy of a dragon when it enters. But what the point I was trying to make is there's a lot of like cost reduction stuff. There's that 3 mana menace guy that reduces it reduces the casting cost of dragons, but also you can cast them from the graveyard. That's more than one effect. It has this like dragon spells that you cast cost 1 or 2 less colorless to cast, and we're getting the Mox opal thing in the set, which you can tap for mana if you control a dragon, or only to spells or something like that. I can't remember. But so I think the dragon deck, if there's a more aggressive one, it's going to be about figuring out the play lines into like which of these cost reduction effects you play at which point in the curve, so that you can do your broken thing as early as possible. But again, I'm rambling at this point, but I'm pretty excited about this one, and I think what he's talking about is Corpses of the Lost. Next up, and before we get to the next little segment, a new instant or sorcery. What? Okay, I don't even remember. It must have been so late last night during, I was lying in bed when I read this. I do not remember reading that. That is probably the most sensational bit of information from this teaser. That, like, there's no way I can even hazard a guess, obviously. But whenever I see new subtype, I get excited. All right. Next up, here are some rules text that will be showing up on cards. Some turds. I've seen this going around. Turtle. Some love for the turtle tribe. There's some cool ones. That 4-drop that mills lands and brings one back. There's the one with the really it's like a 10/5 or something, costs 6 mana. That I can't remember what it does. Like, it allows you to play an extra land a turn or something. There's some turtles, but I don't know how. Then, as long as there are 3 more different kinds of counters among creatures you control, well, that's easy enough too. Well, okay. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely arrive at 3 or more different kinds of counters among permanents you control, but just when it comes to creatures generally tend to only receive like +1/+1 counters. That's the main one, right? Then you can get finality counters and standard now and a few other things, but the majority of creature counters are +1/+1s. So having the fact that up here we saw there was lifelink counters, interesting. Then you may cast it without paying its mana cost if that spell's mana value is 8 or less. Wow, that's a lot. If you put +1/+1 counters on 5 dragons this way, you win the game. Feels like every spoiler season and every Maro's teaser has one of these you win the game type things in it to get us excited, and then sometimes they're actually playable. But how vague this is makes it very difficult for me to make an assessment. But +1/+1 counters in a dragon deck. The cool thing is about Tarkir is that dragon decks are like vastly, like by a long shot, red based, red black, sometimes blue, but really it's like red, mostly red with some black and blue. But +1/+1 counter synergies aren't really like the type of thing that we associate with dragons or with red. So I think because it's a whole plane and a whole set based on dragons, that there will be, of course, Celestia dragons, Izzet dragons, every kind of color combination dragons, and the 3-color clan dragons, and so we'll be able to build a dragon deck in every pairing and even in every monocolored, hopefully. So now it starts to make a bit more sense, because a red-black deck where you're putting +1/+1 counters on 5 dragons in one go doesn't seem like something that could exist without breaking the color pie way too severely. So fingers crossed. Who knows? Whenever a creature you control enters, if you cast it, destroy that creature. What? Why would anyone, except for like some sort of like a, let's say, aristocrats deck, would it even care about that? Hey, look, I just cast a creature. Oh, it's dead. I mean, how good do the ETBs and the death triggers have to be for that to be a thing that you want to happen in your deck? But never know. Next up, we've got at the beginning of combat on your turn. Case. Oh, it's obviously cast. Typo, Maro. If you've cast both a creature spell and the non-creature spell this turn. Well, that's way easier to obtain, of course, in some sort of spell slinger is a type deck, or even in not. Like, this is a way easier condition to meet, and I like how there's a comma there, which means that this is not the end of the sentence. Next up we have then. If creatures you control have toughness 20 or greater. So this reminds me of there's a rabbit, a 2-mana rabbit. Whose name I now cannot remember, attacks. Put a +1/+1 counter on each other rabbit you control. If power is 10 or greater, draw a card. So obviously a much higher threshold, but similar looking effect. However, again, a little comma here on the end. And you know, having creatures on the battlefield for a total toughness of 20 is no easy feat, but it's not. There's a lot of like big ass dinos and things. Who knows? Who knows? Even a synthesizer deck with a get to beam battalion on top of a synthesizer, and you've got yourself that quite easily. Next up, during your end step, warrior tokens you control have this token can't be sacrificed. This seems to be connected maybe to this. No, destroy and sacrifice is different. Why warrior token? It's so vague, Maro. Can't hazard a guess, but I like warriors, and there's a lot of them in standard right now, actually, like loads. This is the weirdest line of text in this whole spoiler. Next up, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may search your library for a card named reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. This creature deals combat damage to a player. Obviously, very difficult to do unless it's a 1-drop with haste, a 1-drop with menace, or anything with haste, I guess. But like, that's not an easy feat in general. People, the amount of removal that's running around these days. But and then search your library for card name. Maybe that's actually referring to this tutor. Tutors don't just mean it's anything that allows you to search for a specific card in a library. So even though you have to jump through a loophole of dealing combat damage, once you do, you're tutoring for card name. So that might be linked to the point above, who knows. Next up, we have spells you cast have delve. Delve, MTG mechanic. I do know this, but I just want to for the sake of interest. Delve is a keyword ability introduced in Future Sight. Delve is a static internet will just get ability that functions while that spell with Delve is on the stack. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, you can use stuff in your yard to pay for things. That's pretty nice. Sorry, just go back here, full screen again. Wow. I like how they've been doing this more and more sneakily, like over where there'll be like a card in the whole set, which has a mechanic, which are these deciduous ones, I guess, not evergreen, that stick around, but they're not like main set mechanics. I'm trying to think of a good example. Like recently, I've just been playing with this 1 mana or X and 1 blue wizard. Oh my god, why? I cannot remember the name of cards today, guys. But it's got Skulk. It was from Wilds of Eldraine. And it has the Skulk thing, which means like can't be blocked by creatures with higher power. And it's the only card in the whole of Wild's Little Drain that had Skulk, and it's a set, it's a mechanic from a way older set or whatever. And they've been doing that more and more consistently, I've noticed, you know, over the last few sets. So this will probably just end up being a single card in the whole of Tarkir that says spells you cast have Delve. But that's a pretty cool thing, having just read it now, what it means again. So I'm pretty stoked. Alright, so now we've done the things you can expect. The rules text, the last segment is always the creature type lines. Oh, sorry, no. There's also some names. So type lines, we've got a dog monk, an elephant druid, a yeti, just makes me so happy. I can't wait to see what this is. A djinn cleric, a zombie advisor. So zombies starting to like crop up again. There was a lot of zombie stuff in Nether Drift, but like not quite enough to make a cohesive like Orzhov zombie deck or something, but close. More zombie stuff on the way. Cool. And we saw that also up here. So, oh no, sorry, that wasn't. That was a dragon. Never mind. Forget I said that. Kirin, a snake shapeshifter. Nice to have an artifact creature, Chimera. We've also got an ape snake. That's going to be a funny drawing for sure. And then a zombie snake warlock. So lots of snakes. Two snakes, but yeah. And then finally, here are some names in the set. We've got an all-out assault, cruel truths, desperate measures, dragonologist. Cool. 100 battle veteran, lightfoot technique. You can always, like, you know, this sounds like a instant. This might be a sorcery. This could be an enchantment. You know, this one, on the other hand, is almost certainly a creature alongside this one as well. This one probably an artifact. You know, you can sometimes you can tell from the names. Yeah, a rescue leopard, definitely a creature. Seize the opportunity, probably an instant. Stillness in motion and a war effort. Tune in to Tarkir Dragonstorm debut stream. It was March 18th, so I nailed it. Watch it on Twitch, blah, blah, blah. So stay tuned for that. I'll, of course, come back with a little reaction video when that drops. But that is going to be it for this one, guys. Please sound off in the comments. What are you the most excited about? Is there anything that you've already guessed at? Have I missed some obvious ones? You know, let me know what you're excited about. From Tarkir Dragonstorm down there in the comments. Of course, if you could consider subscribing to the channel, that would definitely be much appreciated. And of course, commenting and liking is like it'll take you less than it takes you in the morning to make a cup of coffee, and it helps me so much. So if you could take the time, that would be much appreciated. Okie dokes, see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace, y'all.